countdown, bro.
Is it New Year's? It's not New Year's.
I mean, not New Year's.
This is a professional broadcast now that we got Manny Chang behind the scenes. Hello and welcome into another episode of the Calcio Connection. We are connecting with you, Italian football fans from all over the world. The transfer window is closed, so we'll give you some thoughts. Also, review of match day 2 in Serie A. And I realized the only thing that we're missing on this episode is a Milanista, because we have 4 undefeated teams represented. There are only 5 unbeatens left in Serie A. We've got me repping Inter. We've got Mas repping Roma, who look really good. They're off to a flying start so far. Of course, Napoli are perfect so far. We have Raf Biz representing them, and Manny as well, the newest Napoli fan. And we have Jerry representing Lazio. So before I officially introduce our guest for the day, let me introduce Jerry Mancini. And I want to welcome in Jerry because I know why he's so happy today. You see his tweet here, the newest Lazio signing who arrives before deadline day, Mattia Zaccagni. And, you know, Jerry, we were talking before you hopped on, before we went live. We're all a little bit impressed and envious of this move. I mean, Lazio bringing in Zaccagni and bringing him in on an excellent price. Like, you stop stressing about Kostic when they brought in Zaccagni, right?
Yeah, just everybody knows tonight I have a football draft, so I'm trying to multitask tonight.
It's got a fantasy
just so
football
everybody
draft.
knows I am doing this stupid draft. I hate football, but I've been pressured into doing this stupid draft. I think the NFL is the worst league, probably. What they're good at is advertisement. 4 quarters, and you only watch 14 minutes of football. It makes me sick to my stomach. But anyways,
tell us how you really feel.
I think it's technically 60 minutes you watch, but it ends up being 3 hours with all the commercials.
Yeah, it pisses me off. I can't stand it. Freaking
Jerry's
downtime.
Definitely not a fan of baseball. Then
I actually don't mind baseball. I actually like it. It's weird because I'm not a big fan anymore like I used to. I just watch football, like European football. Like that's all I watch now since I was in Europe back like in 2018. Raf, Biz, the guy who got me back into football was Sadi. I watched him live against Southampton in Southampton for Chelsea, and it was the best game I ever watched. That was like a beautiful brand of football. Oh, it's my turn. Do I go Chris Carson? He's the best available. 8 seconds. Shit.
8 seconds left. What's the time limit between picks? It's usually like 90 seconds.
I want the best available, Chris Carson.
All right. Fair enough. Well, let me ask you this, Jerry. How expensive is the buy-in for that league that you're in?
$50. Fucking I could have got gas tank, man. God damn it.
Although that's $50 Canadian money, so that's like $3 where I'm from. But I was gonna say if it was anything less than like $50, I would say you should just fuck off and just auto draft it. But you put down money for a buy-in. I can understand you wanted to draft your own players because, like, man, I do a lot of leagues every year. I'm doing like a few this year that are $100 buy-in. I'm doing a $50 buy-in league. I even do like a couple of free leagues because people invite me. But the free leagues, auto draft special. I do not waste a second actually going in person to draft in a free league. It's just I'm there. I'll check my lineup maybe once per week during the season, but I'm going to auto draft on that. Let me introduce our special guest on this episode. Representing Roma, we bring him back because we like him, and I like the fact that we have multiple Baldies on the show to compliment me. Oh, we got 3 on this one, and Jerry, you're going to be there before you know it, bro.
Yeah, Jerry.
We got a little recession going on there. But let me introduce Mas Riccio. Mas, thank you so much for coming back. How you doing, man? And how you feeling about Roma? Roma are off to a flying start, bro.
Oh, this team's looking very, very good. Tammy Abraham, what more can I say? I've seen him 3 games now. Absolutely insane. He finally got himself a goal on Sunday, so can't be more happy. We're looking good.
And we have Raf Biz on with us representing Napoli, who are also perfect to start the year. You guys labored a little bit against Genoa, but Petagna got it done, man. That was dramatic. And he's staying, right?
Yes, he is. From what I understand, him and Unas officially are staying. They had a call up from Sampdoria, Petagna at least, but ADL didn't pick up the phone, according to Ferrero, and he remains on Napoli. So
I heard he disconnected his landline. Like he still answers a landline. He like pulled the cord out.
Yeah, he did. He shut off his cell phone. The Vodafone's done. He didn't want to talk to Ferraro.
Oh my god! And
he's on Silencio cell phone. So
airplane mode.
Yeah, right. He's on airplane. Exactly.
Oh man! And of course, we have a happy Laziale in Jerry Mancini, and Jerry, of course, the latest move for Lazio being Zaccagni. It's been a nice window for Lazio. And of course, that also includes the manager because Sarri is off to a very nice start. I'm already seeing 2 games in. I'm seeing Lazio adapt to Sarri ball better in 2 games than Juventus did in 38 games a couple of years ago. So I think there's something to be said for his tutorship. You've got to be pretty happy so far.
Pissed off right now. This auto draft, man. Who the heck is Darren Waller?
Dude, Darren Waller's awesome. Freaking athletic freak tight end from Vegas.
Okay, I gotta drift away from this for a second because I spend days, years, well, not years, but hours writing and podcasting for Calcio, and I'm like, how do you watch football? God damn it, man! People are gonna like, what's going on with this pod tonight, man? Zaccagni, guys, you know what? I can't believe it.
I'm jealous.
This is how I'm gonna sum up this deal. We stole Leyva for $4 million.
Yeah.
We stole Luis Alberto around $6 million. We stole Immobile for less than $10 million. Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, we got under $20 million. This is how we do business, guys. We steal, we pluck good players for good price, for good value. Correa was $15 million. We turn him into a profit. It's just how Lazio does business. I gotta give credit to Latito on this one, even though I kind of called him a cheap ass today. But
today only.
But
big mouth, tight pockets.
I don't know how he's gonna play under Sarri. I guess he can play as a midfielder. He could play as a winger. He's a versatile player, so I think that it remains to be seen how Sarri will want to use him. I would think that he'll play as a winger, maybe on the right side. It's a good signing overall. It didn't cost him a lot of money. He's gotten better in the last 2 seasons. He's going to play underneath a better coach. And I'm not saying Juric was a very good coach, and I thought that he got the best out of him, but Di Francesco could have really ruined him. Who knows?
Yeah.
I know that he started off the season well, but you know what? I know we're probably going to talk about we're gonna raid our transfer markets, but overall, I'll say this Zaccagni. I thought Filip Kostic was going to come. I can't believe these idiots didn't know that they didn't want to sell him in the first place, and they sent the first offer to the wrong email. That's a joke. It's a joke. It's not the first time Lazio's done this. I'll be honest. I think this is the second or third time. I don't know who does German. It's bad enough. Lazio doesn't even have an English account, so that's a whole separate.
Gotta love Italian administration, don't you?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Does it happen with Napoli and every other team too? Like, does this shit ever happen once in a blue moon?
I don't know about no missent emails, but I can imagine, they have their own problems.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of because I think unless they just abolished this recently, for transfer paperwork, you have to do it by fax. So I've heard about some incidents. I'm not sure specifically with our teams. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've heard of some incidents of like the faxes not getting sent properly. And so paperwork not getting done by the deadline. So that does happen. I can remember, this is not a transfer related thing, but I remember a few years ago when Keita Balde was on Inter, Senegal, his national team was attempting to call him up, and they sent and this was email, not fax, but they sent the email to like the wrong Inter email address, and so he couldn't get called up for international duty. So stuff like this does happen sometimes. You got anything, Manny, on that?
Yeah, so real quick, Real Madrid fans should remember that David De Gea was on his way, but apparently Manchester United sent it to the wrong fax.
It's the fucking
They
fax
sent
machine.
So
I-
they
all that
they
money
sent
and they're
it to
still working with fax. Figure that
That's what I'm
out.
saying.
listen, I don't know. I think it was the Glazers with the old player person. I forgot the guy's name. But yeah, they gave him the wrong number. They sent it over. It
Ed
was
Woodward?
Yeah.
There you go. Yes, Woodward. So yeah, wrong wrong fax number delayed David De Gea ever
Unreal.
leaving and going back to home, which is Madrid.
Wow, that is wild. Before we get into our specific clubs and how they did, and we could talk also about Milan and Juventus. And since we don't have a Milanista or a Juventino in here, we're probably going to talk some shit, just so you guys know. But before, although Milan is off to a very nice start as well. I can't say the same for Juve. I mean, Juve 1 out of 6 possible points against the likes of Udinese and then Empoli at home. That is a rough start. But before we get into that, guys, overall, big picture, this transfer window is a tough one for Serie A because a handful of very high-profile players left the country, right? So I want to go around the table, and Mass, I'll start with you, and then Raf and Jerry, and you can add in if there are any other big names I may have forgotten here. But we lose Donnarumma from Serie A to PSG. We lose Cristiano Ronaldo to Manchester United, and Romelu Lukaku lost him to Chelsea. So which of those do you think is the biggest loss for Serie A? I'm actually going to vote for Donnarumma, and it's because he's so young and because he's Italian. I mean, one of the faces of Italian football, a Euro champion, was so massive in the Euros in those PK shootouts that I think losing, the best Italian keeper, arguably the best keeper in the world, losing him to another league, I think is going to be the biggest loss. I don't think too many people are surprised, maybe of the timing of it so late in the window about Ronaldo leaving, but he's, more of a mercenary anyway. And the Lukaku thing, it was also, not too surprising with Inter's financial situation, but we did think he was untouchable until he left. But to me, I would say Donnarumma is the biggest loss for Serie A. What do you think, Mass?
I agree. You want to keep your homegrown talent, especially when they shoot up into superstardom like that, and especially what is showing in the Euros. He was massive for Italy. How many penalty shots did he stop between the Spain and England game? I think he's got like 4, maybe 4 or 5.
I lost count.
Yeah, he was just stopping them, So you want to keep your homegrown talent. Like, okay, like you said, like Ronaldo, he is a mercenary. He kind of just goes wherever his ego tells him at this point, because that's the problem with a guy like Ronaldo. As much as he's super talented, yes, he's an absolute freak of nature athletically, his ego gets kind of tarnishes that for me. He's not a team first kind of guy. Maybe I might be wrong about Messi. Maybe he's a bit more quiet about it, but Ronaldo's about more, you see it more visibly with Ronaldo. Lukaku, I think it was just more Inter not really having a choice because you guys are in a bit of a financial situation. So it's unfortunate.
Here, look at that beautiful man.
I think this doesn't work out for Man United as well as they hope it does.
Doing a double work on those.
I really don't think so.
Oh man.
But no, Donnarumma is definitely the biggest one. He could have been a face for the league, especially with his showing in the Euro.
We also lost Rodrigo de Paul as well, but just fame wise, he's not in the same stratosphere. Although it's an excellent player.
No, Rodrigo de Paul is more of a if you know kind of player. If you watch Serie A, you'll know who he is. More visible would have been Donnarumma, and like I said, it's a bigger blow because he's homegrown talent. So.
Well, and the thing is, and Raph, I want you to give your take as well. But Donnarumma, to me, he's a bigger loss for Serie A than he is for Milan, because Milan did a pretty nice job replacing him. So to me, just the fact that, I'm not saying Milan are in shambles or anything by losing him. I'm sure it would have been nice to get, a transfer fee and not to lose him on a free. But I think he's a bigger loss for Serie A as a whole than he is to Milan, because Milan can replace a goalkeeper, but I don't think Serie A can replace one of the faces of Italian football. What do you think, Raf?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Alex. I feel the same with Donnarumma. Even the fact that he's so young, when he's 22, he's already 6 years in the league. On top of that, he just comes off winning the Euros, so obviously there's a bigger spotlight on him. Also, I hate PSG. I hate how they suck up all these players. I'm really sick of them. If there's anybody that you can call a mercenary team, it's got to be them, because I think that's all that team is. and they get pigeonholed in that team, and I just don't like it. Ronaldo, great player. I couldn't care less about him on Juve, to be honest, and all bias aside. I know he did well, but I'm not sure if Juve needed him, really. You know, I feel like Juve already has a structure. It's like you get plugged into the system, you play for the system, and they win. Whereas Ronaldo's too big for Juve, I feel like, in a sense. But as far as Lukaku goes, for me, it was a good thing. I really like Lukaku, the player. I love watching him with Belgium. You know, he played with Mertens. So I always liked Lukaku. Oh, yeah. It was hard to root for him, obviously, when playing for Inter. So now that he's gone, it's a little bit better for me. That's just being biased, but but I think overall, Donnarumma, the fact that he is Italian, I think he's also Southern Italian, mind you.
Yeah, he is.
He's 22. He won a Euro. He's considered one of the top goalies in Italy. I think it's a big loss in the long run for Italian soccer.
Yeah, Jerry, what do you think? Biggest loss for Serie A? Is it Donnarumma? Will you make it unanimous, or was it Lukaku? Was it Cristiano?
Not Cristiano. Who gives a shit about him? No one gives a fuck about that guy.
Man, he does. The Madrista over there.
About that guy. Go back to La Liga.
Not at all. But I have two theories about that. But Jerry, please go.
I don't know. I feel like no one's a loss, really. Seriously.
Really?
Yeah, no one. Who gives a shit? Like, who cares that? Who cares that Lukaku left? Who cares that Donnarumma left? Who cares that? I thought like that at first, but then I really thought after. Does it really matter? This league has so much talent that it's not really. If you want to look at it as a PR kind of move or branding, sure, that hurts you.
Yeah.
Losing Ronaldo does hurt them because it does help brand Serie A. But did they ever use Ronaldo right to brand the Serie A? Did they ever use him right to get that image out there? No. So at the end of the day, he's not a loss because we don't even know how to use him properly to benefit the league. I think Ronaldo was the biggest loss, to be honest. Yeah,
again, and I'm sure Gerald, I'm sure Jerry is talking about what you were saying, marketing and PR.
Marketing, yes, absolutely. But when you look at the league itself, the league is striving fine without him. Like if you're watching games, they're entertaining.
It's been
every game is
without
like,
him, though.
No, but I'm not just talking about him.
I see.
As an overall. I watched the Genoa and Napoli game on Sunday, and that was like one of the best games I watched this past weekend. It was entertaining. Okay, fine. It didn't have the high profile players, sure, but it still had a lot of chances. There were back and forth, some drama, like everything that's going on. It was a good game. Like Politano looked really exciting, and Lozano, and you got Insigne, and you got in Genoa. You got that young kid who's from Genoa. Like, there's just so much things that are going in this league that it's very entertaining. I think the league will be fine. Guys, we average like 5 goals a game. It's fucking insane. It's great.
Yeah, it's been great exciting soccer.
To watch. Like, I gotta make my pick here, guys.
Okay, who you debating between? Who's up there?
Picking Rodgers. Fuck it.
Jerry's multitasking.
He's going Aaron Rodgers. What round are you in?
Rodgers.
No, I did it early, 7th round. I wanted a quarterback this year.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
7 rounds, all right. Yeah.
Who's this T. Williams from Detroit, wide receiver? Or am I
I don't watch Lions football.
How about Odell?
Nobody does, to be honest.
Odell?
Odell, yeah.
Odell's good?
Going back to Serie A and the PR marketing, I think there's just bigger issues with the league in general when it comes to that, more so than the players that we lose that could help bring.
Yeah, dude, tell me about Canada. Like, I feel so bad for you and Jerry. You guys have to VPN to watch games. Like, what's going on up there, man?
I don't understand. They're just isolating an entire fan base. So we have a pretty big fan base here for Calcio. We have a lot of Italians across the country, so it makes no sense for them to not have any broadcasting rights. Like TLN has maybe a handful of games, but they're not showing all of them anymore. And I don't know if that has to do with maybe Rai losing their rights in North America. But I've had no choice but to go through a VPN because Fubo TV is doing the same thing. They're not showing every single game.
That's rough.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate. I mean, we're used to kind of getting the short end of the stick here when it comes to Calcio in general, and the league's just really like dropping the ball with the North American market. I mean, yeah, you guys have it on Paramount Plus and a couple of other things, I think, or is it just Paramount Plus?
Just Paramount Plus, which
Paramount
is,
Plus.
I mean, it's fine, but it's like, yeah, but at least like the good thing about ESPN, I love how Manny shit. He's like, no, it's not fine. But the good thing about ESPN was, like I don't see that much of a difference yet, like with the streaming quality. I mean, 2 weeks in, Paramount Plus has been fine. I have no complaints. But the ESPN deal, which was I think the last 3 seasons, they did put one game like on TV, 1 or 2 games sometimes on TV per week. So you could get them all streaming, but then at least they would put like a game on, usually on ESPN2, sometimes on regular ESPN. So, you know, you were exposing more people to Calcio, where now the only people in the States who are watching it are the people who are paying for it. And if you're paying for it, you're going to be watching it anyway. Like, you're not going to bring in any new eyes to it.
No, that's the
And I
thing, 'cause it's not
think-
even being broadcasted on any, like we have TSN, which is our equivalent to ESPN. They're not broadcasting any games on any sports channels here. You have to literally go to a channel dedicated to Italian TV based in Toronto.
Wow.
So so you're really not getting as many eyes as you'd like. And last year was the Zone, but even at that, it's only subscribers, right? So it's not like it's being broadcasted. It's easily accessible to people. They got to work on that in North America, I think. They got to really start getting it out there. But like I said, Italians are stuck and stubborn in their ways. So until the dinosaurs move out of that boardroom governing the league, I don't think it's going to change.
Yeah, and they're shooting themselves in the foot because that's...
Wouldn't it be beneficial for the league to get out there? I mean, Canada, I mean, this was a big thing I have a few friends in Napoli Club Toronto I talk to all the time, and they went on to Fubo, and they were like, what the hell is this crap? The 5 games, and we bombarded Twitter. It was so bad that I think Fubo started trending or something happened. we gave them so much, just so much shit. But wouldn't this benefit the league? I don't understand why. I mean, have you seen Rye International, by the way, anybody on cable? I mean, the production is
I haven't seen it
terrible.
in 10 I haven't seen it in 10 years because I've had because I think that's like only in my area available, I think through like Xfinity, and I've had DirecTV forever.
Okay.
So I don't think I've seen it since like
nothing has changed, Alex.
Yeah, right.
So you know.
I don't think I've seen it since the year Inter won the treble. Like, it's been that long.
Oh my God. Like, what's going on in Italy, man? Like,
it's crazy. They really don't care about the North American market. I truly believe that right now.
But or any other market, they went on YouTube recently,
Roma
to get it to the Middle East or something.
Roma just broadcasted a game out in like a couple of African countries, and I'm like, okay, well, what about Canada? Like,
yeah.
I would also say this though, guys. I think that Italy soccer was trending up for at least a lot of fans in the States, and obviously I think Ronaldo had something to do with it. But with him now leaving, I think Jerry hit the nail on the head. Marketing goes down. How many people actually know what Paramount Network was? I had no idea what the hell it was. I thought the Italy League was still on ESPN, and then
I think it started as CBS. From what it started as CBS.
It was CBS All Access, and then it became Paramount Plus.
Yeah, but then what are most soccer fans not wanting? By the way, I apologize for that noise. My Frenchie's playing with her toy.
Oh my God! You and your poodle.
I swear to God, Messi now goes to League One in France. Yeah. Nobody knew where the hell Bean Sports went. Now all of a sudden, everybody's trying to find out how to get Bean Sports Network, right? All of a sudden, and then with Mbappe, if he would have been, if he would have gone to Real Madrid today, obviously ESPN would have been like, oh, thank God, like at least we have something we can promote. We have, you know what I'm saying? Because right now they're promoting Benzema, they're promoting Piqué, they're promoting Suarez. Like that gets kind of old. But personally, I just feel like Italy soccer was going on the trend, and then you lose the face. And I hate to say it, we all hate Juventus, but when Cristiano Ronaldo's in your league, man, he's the main guy of everything.
Well, so and that was all marketing because I'm not going to speak for every single Juventino, But like the majority of the Juventini I know didn't even really want Ronaldo on their team. I'm not saying they were happy losing him in like the last 3 days of the transfer window. They would have preferred to get that done early enough to get an actual, like a real replacement. But I mean, a lot of Juventini were upset about him. And it's only because he was tying up so much in wages. You know, Juventus don't have PSG money or Chelsea money or apparently Manchester United money where they can, you know, still address all of their other needs while paying 60 million gross euros per season. So it was holding the rest of the team back. But still, like, he's right. I mean, when it comes to, because like Serie A for Italians, they don't really care that much about Ronaldo leaving, right? But Serie A for people
Worldwide.
in North America, South America, Africa, Asia, that really meant something having him in the league.
And I also think, though, with him now leaving, the true soccer fans now know that Serie A is wide open, right? I mean, if there's ever a year that you wanted to actually watch the league and see what can actually unfold, I mean, no offense to Mas, but I never really thought Roma would be scoring goals the way they're doing it. It's like, wow, that's impressive. Not to mention, Rob, I'm going to be honest with you, I was kind of nervous on Sunday. Thankfully, there was a late winner, but still, it's just 2 games, and I get it. Things are still moving, and things like that. And then Inter's off to a good start. Jerry can't talk enough Lazio because he's so excited every damn 5 seconds.
They're off to a great start. I mean, 6-1.
I mean, listen, if you're a true soccer fan and if you actually love the sport, if there's any league that you really want to know what can happen because you have absolutely no idea. You first picked Juventus, and you probably said because maybe Ronaldo was there that he would be there to score those 1 or 2 goals that can get you those possible extra 3 to 6 points. But now he's gone. And Juventus, to me, just looks like they're in disarray. They don't know yet which form to go. So this league is wide open. So I truly believe that the true soccer fans, that once they realize and the leagues have settled, unfortunately, it's paramount. Like, no offense. Paramount, I need more crowd noise. I need more,
there's something
effects,
up with there's something weird with, right. I feel like, though, these leagues are, I've been watching more and more clips, and it feels like the producers in the background are changing, like the way the audio comes out, because I would hear a chorus going on, and then it would just go silent. You know, it would just
Rob, there was an entire Napoli section at Genoa, and they barely even put the mic over there. And I'm like, guys, like, don't you want to get that crowd?
Right.
You know, because all you had was little flags, the whole stadium.
Right.
You want to get that in the damn broadcast.
And the game commentators keep talking about that, how good it is to have the fans back, the noise, the this, you know, we're not hearing the players or the coaches on the pitch, and then they start cheering and then they cut them off. It's like, what the hell is the point? Like, it's like you're taking away the best part.
And there's something to that, because I knew a guy, I'm in an intergroup chat, and one of the people in the chat who lives in Italy actually went to Verona, to the Bentegodi, to see the Verona Inter match, and he was like talking about how like incredible the crowd noise was and the atmosphere. And I'm watching it on Paramount. I'm like, I mean, I guess, you know, it's not really impressed. And these stadiums they're not 100% capacity in Italy. I think they're 50%. I believe. So obviously, like, you, no matter what, you're not getting the full effect of every seat being jam packed. But even with like the 50% there, I feel like you should be getting a little bit more. I want to start going around the table and talking about our transfer windows. And we see the beautiful table, very beautiful for Jerry Mancini to see Lazio on top with that +7 goal differential.
It's gonna hurt.
This is my point, though.
Honeymoon phase.
But this is exactly my point. The top 5 teams have won 2 games. You see it up there. I mean, and then Juventus is all the way down at 12. I mean, listen, if Napoli can
that's a beautiful sight right there.
Can you crop them out so we just have the top 10 so you don't have to see that logo?
Well, and the crazy thing, and I'm not counting Juventus out. Like, they were my preseason Scudetto pick, and like I'm not going to flip flop after 2 games. Like they still clearly their squad is more deficient than I expected. But they're going to need more time for Allegri to re-inject his mentality, because the crazy thing, guys, about these first 2 matches. Now, the first match against Udinese, that was really mostly individual mistakes by Szczesny, right? But then, you know, the match against Empoli, I'm watching that. That was at home for Juve. Like that was in the J. And I'm thinking, you know, that there's no way when they went down 1-0, I'm like, okay, well, maybe Pirlo's team would have lost this game or drew the game 1-1. But there's no way a Max Allegri team is getting out of there with anything less than 3 points. So I was shocked at the 1-0 loss full time. So clearly Allegri can't just come in there and wave a magic wand the way that I thought he would, because I thought that they would get back to Allegri mentality immediately, Raf.
It's funny enough when everybody found out, first of all, to all the content creators out there, I guess we learned a valuable lesson not to make your top, your 1 through 20 prediction until the Mercato's over. Number one, let's say that. Number two, shit, I lost my chain of thought.
Are you fantasy drafting?
No, I'm not. I had the espresso. I was hoping it would kick in. What I was going to say about Juve was the fact that when Allegri came in, it became the it factor. All of a sudden, once Allegri came, Juve is going to win the Scudetto. It had nothing to do with the team, for the most part, and everything to do with Allegri. And I guess we saw the first two games that doesn't really matter. Now, I think Juve can bounce back overall, but maybe they were having some issues in the locker room with this whole thing with Ronaldo. Maybe it was affecting the whatever it was affecting. Maybe something was going on. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because it is Juve, but it's not bulletproof anymore. I don't think this is the same league where Juve wins 9 in a row. I think it's more challenging. I think it's faster. Maybe that's a problem for Juve. A little bit slower. Their pace is not as good as some of the other teams. You get Empoli now, a Serie B team that can just beat them 1-0. That's crazy. It's got to say something to the quality of the league, kind of like Jerry was mentioning, and how all these other teams are approaching it. Not to mention, big fact, Serie A now has the most goals out of all the leagues, combined. So that's got to tell you something right then and there.
Yeah, and even and I get what David is saying. Empoli are massively underrated. They are the opposite of what they were when going down 2-3 seasons ago. They had 17 consecutive winless matches. Now they are settled, and Lazio beat a strong Empoli. Okay, you can tell me as long as you want to about how Empoli are getting better and they may stay up in Serie A. I will still double down and say they have no business taking 3 points from Juve in Torino. I don't care. I don't care how much better Empoli are than 3 years ago. They have no business taking all 3 points at Juventus. None. Maybe a draw in Empoli, but not all 3 points at Juve.
100%.
So Rafa, I want to start with you. Talk to me a little bit about Napoli. And I know that a lot of the market was about keeping the players you had. You added Luciano Spalletti, who I like, of course, helped stabilize Inter a few years ago, and I wonder if Mass remembers the good times or if he remembers more the bad times with Spalletti. So it's probably a mixed bag there. But what do you think, Raf, about not only the start so far, but about the Mercato? Can you give me either a letter grade or a 1 to 10 rating on what you thought about this Mercato?
I think for Napoli, if you look at the Mercato, you have to really look at it at over the past 2 years, since 2019, 2020, 2021. ADL splurged a whole lot over the past couple of years. So really all the spending was kind of spread out between COVID and everything else that's going on. We didn't really expect a big splash from ADL. At least most of us didn't. Now, I'll talk about the left back because I think that's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
I think this market, like you said, was more not losing players as opposed to buying players. I think Spalletti coming into the team, there must have been some type of verbal agreement between him and ADL saying, okay, you don't have to splurge. You don't have to buy me all. You don't have to spend, 70, 80 million on the market this year, but you can't get rid of these players, especially Koulibaly, especially Lorenzo Insigne, and probably a couple others. You don't just replace a center back. I don't care how much money, or that kind of center back. So yeah. I don't care how much money they would have offered, I think. And what's nice about ADL, he didn't budge. So people want to call him names, but he didn't budge. He kept his team intact. He stayed true to Spalletti. And I think we can be excited about this Napoli. Now, Emerson was the big names. And I feel like the problem is, especially among Napoli fans, they romanticize a little bit. They fall in love with these names that come out on the market. We saw it with James Rodriguez. We saw it with Zaccagni in January. Now we see it with Emerson. And Emerson goes to Lyon, and everybody's pissed off. This team sucks. This is it was a firestorm of emotion. It's like, chill out. He's not all that. He's just a hole. Now, I understand the concern about filling that hole in the left back that we wanted, because let's face it, we lost Hisai on a free. He's in Lazio now. He got a goal for you, Jerry. dick.
Yeah, but how
Anyway.
often does that dude score? That was crazy.
Yeah, but right, he scored what after they had 5 goals against who are they playing? I'm sorry,
Spezia.
they were playing Spezia. I mean, at that point, I think the team kind of gave up. But either way, Hisai leaves. All we have left is a recovering Gulam, who's on his 3rd knee injury, and then Mario Rui. So, I can see some of the concern for Neapolitans. But we go out. We got Juan Jesus, which not everybody was very thrilled about. I get it.
Good luck with that, bro.
Thank you for taking him from us.
No, my pleasure. No, my pleasure, man. That's whatever we can do to help the capital, But here's the deal. Like when I was looking at Emerson and the numbers, and I'm pretty familiar with De Laurentiis' style, I knew there was going to be some bargain basement shit going on. Like I was like, this guy ain't going to splurge. He just spent like over 200 million over the past like 2 seasons and a half. He's not going to go out and spend another 30, especially he don't even want to give Insigne an extra $1 million. You think he was going to give Emerson $5 million a year? Like I just didn't think it was going to happen. I was like, expect some bargain purchases. And then Juan Jesus comes, and the first thing the articles I read about him, like he could play center back and left back. I was like, oh shit, that's it. This is our left back.
Yeah, it's like your version of my Kolarov problem from when Inter brought him in, and he's still at Inter, but I just hope that guy fucking rots on the bench until eternity. But it's like, and I know Mass knows him well, but when Inter brought in Kolarov, hey, he could play left back or left center back, and I'm like, no, I vote no for both.
Right, it's like these guys are the Swiss Army knife of a back line or something like that. But whatever, it is what it is. We got it. We'll see what happens. We kept Zanoli, this young kid. We kept Malkoui, who are technically right backs, but there could be some flip flopping and interchanging going around between left and right. But I think the biggest, well, I can't even say the biggest. It's one of the only signings really was the Anguissa, Zombo Anguissa.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't want to try to pronounce it. I'm glad you did.
Thank you. Yeah, I had some practice yesterday. We were on the rant. If you want to know about Napoli, go check it out. We had Jay from Napoli News there, and we break it all down for you. But Anguissa, big, strong, center mid, good ball control, aggressive, has nice strength, can dribble the ball, can dispossess people in the midfield, can help protect the back line. I heard it was like one of his old coaches. I got his name here. I wrote it down somewhere. But one of his old coaches said he may have had some issues. He may have some issues finishing. We have yet to see what he can provide. But I think between that, it kind of balances out the rest of the team because the team is relatively small, quick, very pacey, which is great. Yeah. They can score goals. But every now and Patania, by the way, is kept. And I like that. Again, another guy that people give shit, but he scores his 4th game-winning goal against Genoa in the closing minutes with an assist from Rui, the guy everybody hates. So here's these 2 guys that everybody hates, yet they're winning games for us at the last minute, And I know they're not superstars, but Patania, again, another big guy, doesn't have a lot of pace, but he's strong. If you see after the goal, he was just pushing people away. He was pushing his whole team away from him, trying to get to the fans by the sidelines.
Nice.
And just to see that laser header that I think he's really good at was nice to see, and it went straight into the near side of the net. So I like the balance of strength, height, but speed, pace, passing ability. I know Spalletti wants him to be cheeky, and I think also Spalletti being here, adding some more balance to that team, to a calmer mentality, a little bit more maturity, a little bit more tactical, will help them in the long run. So it wasn't the cutest 2 games, but they did go through it with some adversity, mind you. So I'm curious to see how the rest of the season pans out.
And that is like that was a good win. I know it came down to the wire with the Patania game-winning header, and I was watching that game. But like it's the weird thing with Spalletti, and obviously I can speak more to his time at Inter than even his time at Roma. But the strange thing about Spalletti is sometimes his teams will show up looking a lot better in the more difficult matches and not looking as good in the Genoa type matches where you really have to labor to get 3 points. So good on you that you got it, but like it wouldn't surprise me if Napoli looks a lot more dynamic against the Milans and the Inters and the Juves of the world than they do against, the Genoas and even, the Empolis and the Udineses of the world. So sometimes it's a weird thing with Spalletti because he prepares his squad so well for the big matches and they get up for them. And then sometimes it's the mid-table and the relegation sides where there's a little bit of sleepwalking going on.
And Jed, one more thing. Hats off to Genoa. They played a great game. We don't give these people enough credit. Their midfield really gave us a hard time, it was hard to we created some chances. Well, we created a lot. I think it was like 14 chances created or something like that. But still, they were pressing us. We had some trouble. And Pandev, who is like one of my favorite players ever. I love this man. Still can come onto the field and make an impact. You gotta factor that in. Like Genoa had a good game. You gotta give him a little credit.
And I thought his goal should have counted, by the way. Like, credit to Napoli for the win, but I thought Moret screwed up on that goal. I thought that should have counted.
He was a little clumsy there. I felt like he could have punched the ball and we could have avoided that whole mess and so be it.
He came out soft on that ball. I was surprised they gave the foul on the ball.
And that was his second little handle that he had issue with too. So it was like a few minutes prior, same thing. He didn't handle the ball well. So I'm hoping he can adjust all that and just.
No, man, it's time for Ospina, bro.
Manny loves Ospina.
I love Ospina too. This was a good problem to having both these goalies because I think both of them were really good and Ospina's huge in Colombia. Like I live in Queens. There's a lot of Colombians around here. I talk to them. They know Ospina very well, and but the thing is, Moret represents kind of like the future. So if Ospina got 1 year left on his contract, I believe it expires in June 22. So I'm sure he's gone, and we picked up another young backup goalie, I think, from our youth system. So, but
Alex, quick thing. So you did mention that maybe it's the matchups that maybe makes Napoli stand up for. Yeah. Nothing better than this weekend against Juventus, man.
Oh, dude. Well, it's a couple weeks, right? Because we're in a stupid international break right now. So it's 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
But listen, you guys, I'm going to be the biggest Napoli supporter when you guys go up against Juventus. Just get it done for me. Get it done for me, if for no one else. I want to go over to Mass. Talk to me about Roma. I mean, Manny mentioned, surprised to see Mourinho team scoring so many goals. Now, I think Italian fans rate Mourinho a little bit higher because they've seen what he can do in Serie A. All the Prem fans just think he's like the worst thing, like he's the Antichrist or something. But I think Serie A fans rate Mourinho a little bit higher. Your take on Roma's fast start, and if you can talk a little bit about the transfer window, because so far it's looking nice.
Let's start with Mourinho. I think he's just better tactically suited to Serie A, and I've said that from the beginning. After he's moved from Serie A to La Liga, I mean, he had some success in La Liga, sure, but I don't think his tactics work in the running gun style of play in the Prem. Like, it's got to be fast paced. But right now we're kind of riding high on this honeymoon phase we're in with Mourinho, with the two legs in the the UEFA Conference League against Trabzonspor.
The biggest competition in the world.
Huge. The $5 million to the winner. We get to pay wages for the likes of Fazio and Nzonzi, who don't want to leave our team. No, they've been looking fantastic. The first leg for the UEFA Conference League, I didn't really get a chance to watch. It was a little bit harder to get a hold of, but Roma broadcasted the second leg on their YouTube, and that was Abraham's debut. And he looked phenomenal. I had to rewind. I've never seen one of our strikers track back so deep into the defensive end since I can remember. It was insane. He had a couple he made an impact right away. I think he got 2 assists that game, got a header off the woodwork. He was all over the field. He's been looking really, really, really good. Even Shomurodov as well. I can't discount that as another acquisition. So our two striker acquisitions right now are looking very good. Very quick. They're contributing on both sides of the field. I mean, you don't really expect a striker to track back and play almost like a trequartista type of role. It's a little strange to see, but it's a welcome change. I like how they have been tracking back and getting involved on the defensive side of the ball. Rui Patricio has been very, very good in nets for us. So these are all the acquisitions we made during the Mercato have all been making an impact right away. And you see it. Rui Patricio was, I think, our first big acquisition before Shomurodov. I'm kind of blanking on the timeline on who came in first. So he had a couple big saves too against Trabzonspor. He came up big against Fiorentina, and he came up big on Sunday the few times that Salernitana tested us. Then you have Shomurodov, who comes in. He's made an impact. I don't know if he's gotten any assists yet or anything, but he's been looking good anyway on the field, even off the ball. Tammy Abraham's the one big signing that came in last, and he's the one who's really been making an impact. I think he got even a couple assists, 2 goals. No, 1 goal. Yeah, 1 goal. So he's been looking good. Our Mercato, I mean, is a strange one because we have a couple of guys tied up that don't want to leave our team.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't Fazio suing the club to try to get back in the first team?
We're gonna get to that. So we brought in big names. We brought in Vigna to replace Spinazzola, who's been looking like he's just adapting to the league. He's getting better as he's been playing, so that'll happen. But yeah, so we kind of finally solidified the goalkeeping with Rui Patricio. We got strikers who are mobile, so it's been a breath of fresh air since Dzeko. And then we can't really do much else after those signings because we finally terminated Pastore's contract. I don't remember what the details were, if it was that loophole because he's been leaving without the team's permission to do things. But Pastore finally out the door. Olsen signed on loan with Sheffield. So hopefully they buy him with, I think it's an option to buy in that deal. And then we have what's left basically of Nzonzi, Fazio, and Santon. But the biggest issue has been Fazio. Fazio is just not wanting to leave the team. He's, like you said, he's been wanting to take legal action to get himself back into the first team, which it's not an ideal situation to have, especially around the locker room when you have a player who's really being stubborn and not wanting to go play elsewhere. Because there have been multiple teams that have been interested in him and in Nzonzi as well, but they've been very stubborn and not wanting to go. So it's been really tough to kind of maybe go after maybe a center defensive, like a center defensive mid that we've been looking for. So we're gonna have to rely on Diawara. But all in all, for a transfer window right now, I'd probably give Roma like an 8.5. I bump him up to an 8.5 just off of getting rid of terminating Pastore and offloading Olsen. It would have been a straight perfect 10 if we could have gotten rid of Fazio, Nzonzi, and Santon. But Santon's been quiet. Like, I just see his name pop up in tweets with people talking about him. It's like I always just keep focusing on Nzonzi and Fazio that just don't want to go anywhere, you know?
How much are they making?
I can't remember. Fazio, I don't think was that much. I think it's more Nzonzi who's got like a more hefty salary for us to pay.
Don't worry, Mas. I mean, apparently you have the one player that this one reporter said that was the next Messi, dude. Come on, bro. Javier Pastore, man.
Oh my God.
he's been the Messi at maybe like grilling. I've been seeing pictures of him on Twitter with the team, like barbecuing for them at best. So.
The only thing he has in common with Messi is being born in the same country.
That's about it. And their love for maybe Argentine barbecue or something. I don't know.
I really don't know where that reporter is, man, but I hope his credential got revoked.
No. Javier Pastore, crap, I think at best his 2 highlights were like 2 backheel deflection goals, like randomly.
I remember one of those, yeah.
And he never touched the field again, I think. So no, I mean the team's looking good. Transfer window wise, like I said, 8.5, but we've come off to a flying start in Serie A right now. Yeah. So
by the way, a quick message, because I got DM like, why did I say that I'm surprised with Roma scoring so many goals? It's because when I remember Mourinho, he was a coach for Real, and for the Spain league, his tactics were sit back, we'll wait for them to come at us, and of course at Real Madrid, you had Ozil, Ronaldo, Benzema. By the way, these guys were all young players.
Prime.
And the way that they counterattacked was just, to me, it was really fun to watch. But as a fan, it was just nerve-wracking because you know the type of talent that was out there for 90 minutes, and that's the way you decide to play the game. I understand against Barcelona at the time. I mean, they had just guys all over the place. But against Elche and against Granada and against Villarreal, that's the type of style you really want to go with. That's my only concern. That at some point, listen, Roma scoring goals and that's great as long as you're winning, man.
Manny,
But at some point, Jose Mourinho.
You should watch a Roma game. It's a real far cry from Mourinho parking the bus and counterattacking. We've been, I think, within the first 30 minutes of the game against Salernitana, we had like 94% possession.
That's now.
Like
That's now.
95% pass completion rate, like something like 400 passes.
Wait until you play net. Yeah. Wait until you play a team that's out-possessing you the first 5-10 minutes. And you really need to win this game. I'm telling you. His tactics all of a sudden become, let's sit back.
We'll see, because Fiorentina was not. It's not a team you kind of like shake your head at. We managed to take it to them. We locked down Vlahovic. We made him a non-factor that entire game. We would have been a man up the entire game if it wasn't for the really soft yellow on Zaniolo.
But by the way, I want to mention something on this comment because I see, and Milanisti, like their club is, they get linked to like every player. So I know just going through the transfer news must get frustrating when you get linked by media members to like every player on the planet. But I don't know why people are dogging the Junior Messias move. I think that's a fine signing. I guess it's because of some of the other players they've been linked to in the last couple of days. Great story. I mean, this fucking guy was like selling air conditioners while he was playing in Serie D a couple of years ago. He is 30, so I think being named Junior is a little misleading for a middle-aged man.
Language. Don't swear, please. There's kids around here.
Oh, Jerry's telling me not to swear. Okay, here we go. But no, I think the Junior Messias move is a fine signing. And Jerry, I want to bring you in. What round are you in, by the way, in the fantasy?
I'm done. I drafted.
My
team sucks, man. I drafted a bunch.
What do you got?
I closed it, but I can open it up and tell you who I have. I picked Engram. I had him like 3 years ago. That guy was amazing. Then he fucking just fell off the map of the earth. My team's shit, man. My quarterbacks are I have Rodgers, Deontay Johnson, Moore from Carolina. Auto dropped that by accident. I wasn't paying attention. McCaffrey, Carson, Waller, Dillon, another auto draft. I think he's the backup. I'm so screwed there. I picked Crowder. Man. Crowder was such high X ranking. I don't even think that was a good pick. Gallup from Dallas. He's probably the third receiver or second receiver. I don't know. I got Mayfield as my backup. Singletary. He's good for passing. I know that. Cole Beasley. I don't know why I have two Buffalo players. This is not good.
Oh, Buffalo's good, bro. Where you been?
Good?
Yeah, Buffalo's really good.
Josh Allen balls, man.
Yeah, okay. They won 13 games last year. Yeah, they're really good.
Engram, I got Blankenship, kicker.
Yes.
And my D is Pittsburgh. Is that good? Anybody help me here, please?
Don't look at me. I like Blankenship as your kicker. I have an affinity for Colts kickers. I had Vinatieri and now Blankenship the last couple of years.
Nice.
I don't know. I picked that
they put up points depending on what your scoring is for your kickers.
So Jerry, I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you your take on not only Lazio's start. They are one of the 5 unbeaten teams in Serie A that are all represented here, plus Milan, who's not represented here. But your take on Lazio so far and the transfer window. I mean, you get the Harry Potter lookalike and Toma Basic in. You get a steal in the final hours of the window for Mattia Zaccagni. How do you rate the transfer window and the start under Sarri?
Yo, Biz. Don't give me that look, man, eh? I'm back.
I'm
focused.
I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at us. You know what I mean? Because I had to deal with all of January. Zaccagni's coming. When we needed a freaking midfielder, and it didn't come. And now you guys get him for what? 8 mil plus 2 mil bonus or something like that.
Steal.
I was just reading an article that was made on the Laziale from Apollo, and it's really good actually. And I think the guy who still comes and joins Lazio after all this is Frank Ribery. I think he comes in and he gets signed because he's a free agent. And these are Lotito deals where he gets these fucking goddamn cheap 1 million, 1.5 million they're gonna pay him, and he's gonna come in. He's gonna play as a winger. We need another winger. And we need a left winger. So, or
he's experienced and he's a winner.
Yeah,
so, it's not a bad.
I see it's happening. I think it's gonna happen. And it said that So in the article, I like this because they said if they didn't sign Filip Kostic and they did sign Matteo Zaccagni, that they would consider signing Ribery because I guess they saved 10 million from buying Kostic, and they have that money to invest into him now. So for me, I can really see Ribery being plucked this week. Like they can't wait long on him either because I think that a team will eventually sign him. But
so if they're a free agent, it doesn't matter if it happens within the transfer window, I would assume, right?
It's not technically a transfer. That's why.
Okay,
they're not. A transfer is considered with a team from a team. Like if Zaccagni goes to Verona, then you got to go do the papers because you're transferring from one side to another. It's like hockey, basically, when you make
trades.
But I see it maybe possibly happening. I don't want to put too much into Lazio's first two games. I use it as banter more just to get people riled up, because Lazio's sitting first, so I'll embrace it. But it's not going to be like that for long.
I disagree with you. Could Sadi work? Granted, it was kind of like an 11 titolissimi, and we stayed healthy and we had the right team for it, but we didn't have a whole lot of depth. Who do we have on the bench? Diawara, Marco Rogue, and he barely even used them. Sometimes he didn't even use at the time it was 3. He barely even used all 3. I mean, one of the reasons why the Scudetto slipped out of our hands is because the team was exhausted. So if anything, you should be afraid of that. I don't see you guys winning like a double. I'll question the performance, your performance in Europa League. And I'll also question Pepe Reina's ability to make stop. He's a great leader. He can certainly command the defense. But I'm skeptical about his shot saving ability, man.
Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, but I start to see him make some mistakes with his feet as well, which is uncharacteristic, and that shows you the guy. He's just getting old, right? Because Reina has always excelled, at the sweeper keeper, the distribution. So when he starts screwing up with that, that the age is setting in.
It is, but I don't think the passing is that bad as I think it is. It's what Rob said here. It's basically he's
gonna let him some softies, man.
Yeah, man.
He's gonna let him some softies.
It's like on Saturday against Spezia. I didn't like the way he made that save, and I know that Joe Fischetti from Forza Napoli podcast said it's a difficult shot, but I think that in that situation, I think he could have done a better job because there's no force to the shot, his angle and everything. It's all bad, man. Like I didn't like it at all, and.
Was that the one where what's his name was on the line? He took it off.
Whose side missed this guy on the right side there, and Daniele Verdi scored. But I don't blame
Roma scoring against Lazio.
I don't blame whose side though, man. I blame Lazio being caught so high up and struggling to get back. And Cherby guy plays high too. But point is, I agree with you. Reina is so prone to giving up poor saves that it's so bad, man. And then.
He looked like Dino Zoff last January playing against Napoli. But then, he came out, he was the man. But
dude, and who else? Freaking Handanovic was so good against Napoli last year. It's like
he was
standing on his head.
Yes.
Like the guy usually nowadays, sadly, plays like a 45-year-old. I think he's 38 in real life, 37, 38. But like he had that game against Napoli like around the holiday season last year.
December,
December, dude. Yeah. He was unstoppable.
Amazing. He was amazing. He made some saves, unbelievable. Pepe Reina too. He was just so intense in the way he played. But Pepe Reina is not going to keep up that intensity long. If the defense stays consistent and reliable, he can help manage those pieces. I think Pepe Reina could be a great coach one day. In my opinion, he can become a great coach one day. But I think he's gonna. I'm afraid of the games that he's gonna let in a soft shot, and then you're gonna drop points because of that. But I
agree.
I still believe in Sadi. I still like him. Some people in Napoli are back and forth with him. I still like him. I think what he does for players is great. I don't think Juve is the team for him, but I believe, and I told you, Jerry, I told you in the DM that he's a guy that he can instill a lot of confidence into a player and help teams that have something to prove. I think Lazio is one of those teams.
He's a player's coach.
Absolutely.
But guys,
and he can certainly increase the value of a lot of. We got, mind you, that was the year that Higuain went to Juve for 95 million. I attribute that. Granted, he had a great season, but I attribute that to Sarri being behind him. We took this $45 million guy off the Real Madrid bench and doubled his value basically in one season, and it was our highest transfer fee since. And that's what I'm going to look at. I'd like to see Lazio's value at the end of the season to see if it all works out. I think they're the dark horse this year, man. I'm sticking with that.
Yeah, Jerry, I think it's quite clear that in 2 games, man, listen, if you're a Lazio fan or a Lazio hater, it's quite clear that the way that Sarri has his team playing so far is very, very fun to watch, no matter what side you're on. Yeah. But listen, Rob even said it best, and I think we said this also the last time I joined. Sarri couldn't really listen. Who the hell is going to do anything at Juventus when you have Ronaldo calling the shots and everybody's looking at Sarri? Man. Listen, you better not upset people because this is a guy. It's like now he has that liberty of saying, you know what? If this doesn't work, I don't have somebody telling me no. I can go ahead and fix it. I'll find solutions to it. And if there's not there, I'll go and say, listen, we need this, we need this. What's the best thing you can give me? And I think at the end of the day, if you're a Lazio fan, you have to kind of just enjoy the ride that this season will be, because Sarri is going to give you something that I feel that you haven't had it in a long time. And that's just the confidence in knowing that for 90 minutes, you're going to get the best, whether it's maybe probably not all the time. Will it be by scoring? But you know that his club, the team that he puts on the field, the substitutions he makes, the tactical things he does at halftime, those are things that if you're a Lazio fan, you have to be excited about. And those are the things that I can give you the positive of knowing, hey, listen, we have a shot. If Sarri wasn't there, I'm sure even our biggest fan down here, I'm not sure if he's feeling confident right now. Yes, let's switch Sarri for somebody else. They might be, they might have won their game last week and the one now. But Jerry knowing they had Sarri at the helm gives him a whole shitload of confidence. And I can't blame him for that, because we've seen what he does when he doesn't have to be told, be careful how you do things.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah.
Your job is on the line. It's like, dude, like,
he doesn't have that ego in the locker room.
Absolutely. Like, I wouldn't get him to manage these big personalities. I don't think that's his strength, but I think he's good at pushing a team that needs a push.
He's good at collective, at making sure that if you're good at this, you stick there. Let me find somebody else that can stick here, and then we'll practice it. We'll get the continuity going. He couldn't do that at Juventus. He had to play everybody that was getting overpaid. Well, listen, like, now to try to tell them to play to my system, and Ronaldo keeps bitching about it after every single game. Well, they're not giving me the ball. And, poor Dybala's like, dude, like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, it's just ridiculous sometimes.
So Jerry, to close out, and you can add whatever you want to add, but I also want to ask you if you want to rate Lazio's Mercato 1 to 10.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll give a very brief analysis, quick. I'll say 8 out of 10. And I'll explain why. So they got wingers. You got Pedro. I don't care if he's 34. He has experience. He understands how to play underneath. Simple. Done. You got Felipe Anderson. Cost the club less than $3 million. They sold him for 41. That is Lotito business. Once again, I'm gonna say, you guys, we can criticize Lotito for being cheap, but this guy knows how to freaking sell his players, bring him back, and it already looks amazing the first 2 games. Anderson, great signing, understands the league, like it. Zaccagni. 8 plus $2 million. His contract's $1.8 million per season. Great deal. Comes from the Serie A. Is on the rise. Will flourish under Sarri. Perfect. Luke Romero. Yes, he's 16 years old, but guess what? He's going to be playing behind guys like Pedro and Felipe Anderson, and who else? Maybe Ribery comes in. He gives him experience. I'll just throw a name out there. And then he grows. He'll play limited time, but he'll adjust and he'll grow to next season and probably go on loan. Or maybe he plays in a bigger role because Sarri sees something in him, even though he's young. Who else? Toma Basic. Hey, we got a backup to Luis Alberto, who's actually an attacking midfielder and plays in a 4-3-3. God bless, man. We didn't go after Andres Pereira. Like the guy is a really good midfielder. He will have to take time, but he has a lot of potential and he's been highly rated. Here's the downfall. Midfield looks good. Forwards look good. The back end looks shit. And I'll explain why.
He said, no.
No.
Watch
Thumb
the
in the throat.
cursing.
Husai is a good signing. Husai is a good signing. I understand. Sorry. I think he'll do good on the left side. I don't see an issue there. The right side is fine. You got Matisic and Latzi. I'm so happy we didn't sell either player because those are two quality right backs we got who can probably take care of that position. This is where it gets dangerous, and this is where I don't like it. If a Cherby and a Luis Felipe go down, we're depending on Radu and Patrick to freaking man the center. That is a scary sight. I like Radu, but I don't like Patrick. That this is where we ran into the issue last year, where our defense was very weak, and I don't know what we're gonna do now. Do we depend on Dennis Vavro, the $12 million signing, and hope that he pans out? I know that we didn't even register Dmitry Kaminovic. He's not being registered until apparently January now because we didn't register him before the day you're supposed to register players. So I'm not even sure what's going on with that. I'm very skeptical of the fact that if Luis Felipe goes down, we don't have enough depth there. And the only players you can rely on is Vavro and Patrick. And lastly, I'm okay with Marici starting behind Immobile because now he gets consistent playing time. And I want to hear that he got 29 chances last year. This guy got thrown into dead games.
Yeah.
He played in the last 9 games when the season was done. He never got the right start to the year where like he had COVID, he had an injury, he didn't have preseason training. Guess what? Check those all off because he was healthy to start the season. He had the proper training. He fits in a 4-3-3. He's going to have Pedro crossing balls into him when he's playing. He's going to play every Europa League game. I think that's 100%. That's where the rotation comes in, Biz, where you'll start to see.
I like that dude, Moro.
Yeah,
young kid, man.
Moro's another good player.
Super pacey. I think he can do well under that system, man. I'm excited to watch him.
I'm telling you, the depth. Lazio has depth. For the first time, I don't remember the last time I was able to even use that word for Lazio. My God, that's a scary sight. But I think overall, they brought in players. It's hard to bring in 11 players one shot and try to get everything, but I think a good test is after the break when they play Milan. I think that's a good prime example of how we can really judge what Lazio really are. I don't see them winning that game personally. I think they're going to struggle.
Win, Jerry, come on.
It's not.
Come on.
What am I? Am I going on the field to play?
Yes, I want. Actually, no, I do not want you on the field. Stay off the field.
It all depends who plays that game.
Play left back.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I want to see how they are able to adjust against a more well organized, more deeper team who is functioning properly. Empoli and Spezia really gave up a lot of space to Lazio, where it allowed them to attack under Sarri. It's not even Sarri ball yet. That's the best part. This is not even, like Joe was telling me, Joe Fischetti, like this is not even close to Sarri ball. Sarri ball happened on Saturday after they went up a guy. That's when Sarri ball happened, he told me. That's when you start to see Sarri ball where they were passing the ball, moving it, making the quick passes, and keeping possession. Maybe you know Biz too as well, but
I mean that's the Sarri ball strength, right? Is to make these low, quick passes in this triangle and to set up your number 9. I think if Immobile starts finding space, which he did last game, and then he had a hat trick, right? I mean, he'll start scoring goals, and again, it's that confidence factor, it's that human element that Sarri can bring to really help the team, but. I mean, it'll take a little bit to warm up. I feel like Lazio, they'll have to, like that first game, you can see some, I don't know if it was nerves or what have you. You didn't quite see the system that we all familiar with Sarri. But in the second game, you started seeing it a little bit more. And I think game by game by game, if you stay healthy and you feed into and they buy into it, rather,
yeah,
we could see something. I'm just keep your eye on them. I'll say that much.
Yeah, and they got to buy into it. Yeah, because like what Manny was saying with Juventus, like for the one season Sarri spent there, and yeah, they did win the Scudetto, so you give them that. But really, I saw them still basically playing Allegri ball, not Sarri ball that year. That they never really adapted to Sarri. And I kind of joked at the start of the episode that the Lazio in 2 games have already adapted better to Sarri ball than Juventus in 38 games. Well, 38 games plus all the other competitions, and it's not really that far off. But yeah, I'll give some thoughts on Inter, and then I'll give everybody a chance to promote their stuff. Obviously, the start has been very good. Didn't look great in the first half against Verona. Closed that one out in style. Obliterated Genoa in the first game. It was nice to see so many different people score. Really, the story on the pitch for Inter has been sensational debuts, right? I mean, the game against Genoa, Hakan Çalhanoğlu was incredible in that game. And the goal that he scored was an absolute screamer, and he assisted. Edin Dzeko assisted and scored in that game, and it was great to see him score the final goal of that game. I think it was in the 87th minute, because he had played so well and had so many good chances before that. He deserved to be rewarded with a goal. And then the following game, against Verona, looked okay. The first 15 minutes or so were on the front foot. Handanovic gifted Hellas a goal, and then they lost their shape for about 20 minutes. All of a sudden, Verona really grew into the match. Second half completely changed things. Joaquin Correa comes on as a substitute, and there you have another sensational debut. He was absolutely incredible, scoring a brace in that game, scores a headed goal, and then an unbelievable strike from outside the box. So far, so good for Inter. Like a lot of our teams haven't really been tested yet, right? So we haven't seen big matches. So, I'm not surprised to see them playing well, because I watched them, because I'm, a nerd. I watched them basically every minute they played of the preseason, and they looked very organized, and they seemed to have adapted to Inzaghi pretty quickly. So I wasn't surprised to see that continue into the regular season. Obviously, you lost a couple of very important players, and that ties into the Mercato conversation. I almost feel like in Inter's case, I've got to give out 2 separate grades. Like, I've got to give out a grade to the club as a whole, and I've got to give out a grade to the directors, because Marotta and Ausilio, obviously it's not their fault the debt, is as high as it was. It's not their fault they had to cut costs the way that they did. So if I'm going to give a grade to the club as a whole, and this is not even to say I don't think they had, at the end of the day, all things considered, a good Mercato. I can't go higher than like a 6.5 in a Mercato where you lose Achraf Hakimi and Romelu Lukaku. And especially the way that they lost Lukaku, it kind of made you feel like they shouldn't have even had to have sold Hakimi in the first place. Now, maybe at the end of the day, Lukaku really did badly want to go back to Chelsea and push for the move, and they had already sold Hakimi early in the transfer window. But it's like, for the club as a whole, when you lose 2 players who were that instrumental in the Scudetto last season, I can't really go higher than a 6.5. And the score could have been much lower than that, because I thought that they did a pretty damn good job with a limited budget replacing those players. And that's why, if I'm going to give a separate grade to Marotta and Ausilio, I give those guys like a solid 9, okay? Because, they replaced Lukaku with volume. Obviously, Lukaku himself, for what he did under Conte ball, I don't think the guy is replaceable. But, they replaced him with Edin Dzeko, and I know he's 35. There's going to be some consistency issues, I'm sure. It's why you need depth there. But Dzeko's looked very good the first 2 games. Joaquin Correa obviously had a fantastic debut, and he's got the familiarity with with Inzaghi. I got Sarri on the brain after the conversation was had. So he's got the familiarity, does Correa, with Inzaghi, and that's a player Inzaghi wanted. So I think he's going to fit like a glove in this formation. And even though, again, Lukaku himself is not replaceable, Inter actually have a deeper striker rotation than they had the last 2 years, because the last 2 years with a front two, they really only had 3 guys who could play, because the 4th guy last year was Pinamonti, who I don't rate as highly as some other people do, and Conte didn't trust him. The year before that, Esposito, who was 17 years old at the time, he's tearing up the Swiss league now, but Conte didn't trust him enough, so they had 3 guys in Lautaro, Lukaku, and Alexis to play 2 spots, where right now they've got 5 guys to play 2 spots, because, Satriano being the 5th, who's a little bit green, but I think a very bright future, the Uruguayan. He may end up going out on loan in January, but he stays for now. Satriano, Alexis, I think might even be healthy at the end of the international break, which would be big, because I was worried about that injury he has. And then Correa, Dzeko, and Lautaro, who I think is going to have a nice year. So depth-wise, they have more than they had. So they're going to try to replace Lukaku with, quantity more than quality. Hakimi was sold. The jury is still out on Denzel Dumfries. I like his pace a lot, and I didn't watch him nearly enough at PSV. You watch a highlight reel, everybody looks like, the greatest thing since sliced bread. I did watch him with the Netherlands in the Euros, and I really liked what I saw, and I wanted them to buy Dumfries. He's barely featured yet. Matteo Darmian has looked very good so far. Obviously, he's not going to be consistent enough for all 3 competitions, so they're going to have to work Dumfries in. They replaced, now Eriksson was not sold. This was an act of God with what happened to him at the Euros. So they bring in Hakan. And I know we have Milanisti in the chat, and I get it. I watched him at Milan. There could be consistency problems. I understand that, right? So I'm hoping that with Inter's midfield depth, they can afford some of his inconsistency issues. And I'm also hoping a change of scenery will do him good. I know that when he's at his peak and he's really invested, he's capable of doing, what he did against Genoa, and there could be blackouts where Hakan is not doing very well. But listen, overall, it's like, obviously with a limited budget, because they didn't reinvest most of the money that they brought in from those sales. I thought Inter did a pretty damn good job, all things considered, and they're still a Scudetto contender. I don't know if I would call them a favorite, even with what's happening at Juventus. I still feel like Juventus under Allegri are going to figure it out, and I certainly think Napoli are in the mix. I certainly think Milan are in the mix. I think Lazio could be a dark horse, and Roma have impressed the hell out of me, so I don't know what to do with them. But yeah, I think I give Inter's directors a 9, and I give the club as a whole about a 6.5. So yeah, we'll close out the episode on that note. I want to give everybody a chance to plug your stuff. We'll start with our guests. Raf, let me go to you first. And you and Rafa do an awesome job on the Raf and Raf Rant. Let people know where they can find your work.
Well, on Twitter, be at Raf Rant. You can also go on YouTube, the Raf and Raf Rant. Check there. We also, Far From Vesuvius, we're trying to do big things there. We ramped that that group. So we got a lot of exciting things. This is our first full season. Because we started the show in January of this year, so we only had a half a season, but we had good growth. We had a lot of fun, and we're going to roll into a full season now, and hopefully it all works out. So you can catch us there if you're a big Napoli fan, but or any fan really. If you're just a Calcio fan, you need some info. We're not pretentious there. It's a good vibe show. We all have a good time. You can participate in the chat. Jerry Mancini is there. Alex, I hope to have you soon. Man, you
definitely.
Well.
Just let me know.
We want to do an definitely parlay thing. Nima was on our show once. So, but yeah, at the Raf Rant or the Raf and Raf Rant, check it out.
Hey, dude, it's funny. Like I enjoy, obviously I'm an Inter supporter. And so I listen to a lot of shows that are Inter-specific. I listen to like general Calcio shows, but I also I enjoy a lot of content creators who cover other teams. Like I enjoy what you and Rafa do. I enjoy what our friend Joe Fischetti does with Napoli. Right. Believe it or not, I even listen, not necessarily every week, but a lot of weeks, I listen to the Milan Weekly Pod with our guys Vinny and Steve. I find them to be incredibly entertaining. The only thing I can't bring myself to is listening to a whole lot of Juventus stuff. I know that our guys Lucci and Alberto do some Juventus content, but I don't go that far. And I also like Steve Chavillo's content on Roma, which is good as well. So I like a lot of the content being done, even other club specific. Mass, what about you? Let people know where they can find you.
They can find me on Twitter at Mass148 and on Instagram at mas.richo. It's all things Roma. I'm trying to kind of maybe sort of streamline it on Twitter to really just cater to Roma and the inner workings. So yeah, for all things Roma and Calcio, you can find me there.
Now, Manny, pop your head back in here, sir. Let people know where they can find you, or maybe he dipped out to feed the
I
dog.
mean,
There you go.
I basically do everything with you, so wherever they
Yeah,
find
man.
you, they'll find me. So it don't really matter. You can find me at 5 Reasons Sports. I do a lot of shows there. Also, make sure if you're a huge Miami sports fan, no matter what sport, also any soccer fan as well. Donald Daily, Monday to Friday with this man to my left. Alex Donald right here. We have a show 12 to 1 all day, every day. Yeah, that's about it.
Beautiful, Jerry. You do a great job writing about Lazio and
Jerry looks like
Inter.
he's ready to bed.
No, I'm fucking pissed, man.
Why?
Jerry's looking stressed, bro.
Why are you pissed, bro?
He's
This
looking
one-
at that fantasy football team, and he's like, "Oh
He
boy."
drafted
He
five
drafted
guys.
the wrong.
I drafted 5 guys. They're off in the same week, and 2 of them are
Oh
my
no!
and 2 of them
Oh,
are my
where are
quarterback. Hold on, 2 of them are my quarterback.
Oh no! Yeah, so you got to pick up another quarterback
Oh, you
then.
can worry about that when you have to get to that bridge, Jerry. Cross
Yeah.
it when you reach that bridge.
That's what
Yeah,
happens
never
when you
roll it.
stream in
Never
fantasy at the same time, you know?
The bye weeks are tricky,
I
though.
accommodated,
Yeah.
I accommodated you fucks, fucking fuckers.
No, you have to go best available. Don't worry
Fucker.
about
Fuck you, you got Sakanyi, all right? I don't want to
Yeah, fuck you, Jerry.
Yeah,
Shit.
seriously.
You got
Yeah,
Norma
we're-
Basic.
we're-
Sure,
Yeah,
we're,
for you.
we're still gonna
Lazio
freaking
move.
lose anyways. Fucking somehow, some way. We always pissed it 3 years ago against Inter, 4 years ago.
Oh, and Jerry, do us all a favor and like on your Twitter, post a screenshot of your fantasy team so we can all
Please,
see it and
please.
and let people know where they can find you and find your work.
J Mancini 8. You can find my work. I have some stuff on Serpents and Mondanina. I just wrote up on the game. Laziale, I wrote up on the recent game too. Winners and losers, basically. And I wrote a piece on Caicedo, actually. And it's basically how he went from a player who people wanted him out of the club to becoming a fan favorite and hero and now loved by many. And he basically proved many wrong. It's basically a thank you to Caicedo for what he was able to do with Lazio. I believe he holds the record for most goals scored after the 90th minute, with 6, and
Wow.
5 of them have been game winners. I don't know anybody who will come close like he does as Mr. Clutch, but I saw a comment just to go back a while back and during this pod is that people think that Genoa is going to be a good team this year. There's a problem here, guys. You buy 8 new players and 9. That's not always a good thing because these guys haven't been able to play together.
Right.
You're throwing players all over the pitch and they have little time to like develop that chemistry, to develop how they understand how to play each other. So you gotta be careful, man. Like, do I miss Caicedo? Yeah, I do, but he's 32. He's up in age, and like I trust Sarri, okay? I trust Sarri that if he sees that he is not the guy, there you go.
Maximovic, good luck.
Maxim
I got
Fades.
you, Jerry. I got you, Jerry.
Vasquez, Fades.
Monopoly
Holy
check.
shit, man. You know, I'm not going to shit on Fades, actually. I won't shit on him because it just didn't go right for him last season. He's got a lot of talent. Hopefully he can find it at Genoa, but
Maxi's second half last year was atrocious. It was
yeah, I remember
terrible.
that.
He
Very bad.
became a hated man in Napoli. So we'll see what he does for Genoa. But
again, I understand that we didn't want to sell Caicedo, but Caicedo he's making over $2 million at Genoa. We weren't going to pay Caicedo $2.5 million to be our backup when they already signed Marici. It sucks, but that's just the way it goes. You made the investment, you got to stick through it. How many investments can you make that you're letting sit on the bench? It's bad enough. We don't have so many players registered right now. Like, they don't have homes. Dermisi's not playing this season now because we didn't transfer him out because there's no Salernitana. Jordan Lukaku never got a chance. Didn't even smell the pitch during preseason. Can't believe like this guy was a favorite under Inzaghi like 3 seasons. It's just Dennis Vavro, like $10 million. This is money wasted, man. And I'm like, bad. But again, I guess you got the options. If someone gets hurt and someone goes down, I guess you can take them out of the squad and you put somebody else in, right? So I guess they're available and they're riding away, waiting to go. But who the hell knows?
And by the way, thanks to everyone. Oh, hello. Thanks to everyone who was with us on the live chat. I feel like we had a pretty good mix. We had an Interista in there, a Laziale, Napoli supporters, Milan supporters. I feel like it was a good mix in the chat. And to David, thank you for the kind words. He says he likes the five of us together, so he wants to see more of this. So how about that? How about that?
I don't know why you don't come on more, Biz. You piece of shit.
Hey man, send me the invites, bro.
Yeah, I feel like he's come on every time we've invited him. So
yeah, I mean, I'm 2 for 2, right? You know, I want more. I want. You know, I wore this shirt yesterday. I wore it. I wanted to wear it today, and I did it because fucking everybody's calling ADL a Papone, and I was like, you know what, Papone ain't easy, bro. Papone ain't easy. Papone ain't easy.
That's beautiful. So huge shout out to everybody. Huge thanks to Manny, to Mass, to Raph, and of course to Jerry. And by the way, you guys, I didn't plug my stuff.
Italy plays Thursday too, by the way.
That's right. Who do they play? I got to bet on that one.
Bulgaria.
I got to see what the spread is. It's probably a goal and a half or something.
Watching Serbia tomorrow too. It's my second favorite team now.
Yeah, because of SMS.
SMS, man. I watch every SMS game because of Serbia. Like I have to watch to see how he's doing. Just everything. I have to, man. If I don't,
you have to watch what he eats. You have to see how he changes his clothes. Yeah,
I watched on Instagram already, man.
I bet you do.
Hey, stop sliding to his DMs, bro. He has a game to worry about.
Oh man, so huge thanks, you guys. You can see the Twitter handle there, and check me out. Manny already mentioned I do a daily live stream on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We do mix in a little bit of soccer or football, depending on where you're from, Calcio, but we do primarily talk American sports. But you can check me out there 12 to 1 p.m. on 5 Reasons Sports YouTube. We will talk to you guys again next time. Huge thanks to Manny, Mass, Raph, Jerry. I'm Donno. We'll talk to you guys on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Ciao.